All right, so I believe, and I still believe, that learning stuff is important. I want to have my brain turned on whenever I'm coding, reading, whatever I'm doing. I want to make sure that I'm learning and always growing. So I'm going to be doing a few live streams, yes, building stuff and working with other stuff, but I want to start learning technologies as well. So I've been hearing a lot about TanStack Start. I've done some stuff with TanStack Start. I haven't learned a whole lot about it yet, so I'm looking forward to getting into it and seeing what's so special about it. And of course, there's a few things we already know. It's a full stack framework, so that's not news, but it's a continuation of TanStack Router as well, which I'm also not very familiar with. So a lot of this is coming from wanting to. There's like a whole vibe going on right now where everybody wants to rip and replace Next.js, especially recently. There are just so many like CVEs, security vulnerabilities, and issues with the Next ecosystem that makes sense to have a replacement that you can go to. And I don't think Next.js is going anywhere. It wouldn't make sense for it to kind of fold and go off and do its own thing or stop working altogether. Like, development's not going to stop for Next.js in the near future. But it's always nice to have a good, solid replacement for the dynamic nature that Next.js allows. Like, Astro is a good framework as well, but it's more for the static content, like content heavy, not really full stack application. For most websites, it would be fine because it does have the island architecture where you can throw in JavaScript wherever you need it. But TanStack takes it from a different direction where Next.js is all server by default. TanStack is all client by default. So there are a few things that you have to figure out there. But I like the ability to be interactive without doing like mental gymnastics to get to the interactivity. And then for comparing it to Astro, I haven't done enough with Astro to actually know outside of the few things that I have done, but I know it works well with headless CMSs. Its caching is pretty good, so I have honestly no complaints with Astro. And Cloudflare just bought Vite, so we have Vite and Astro all under Cloudflare right now, so they are clearly trying to make a play for something. Not quite sure what yet, but we're getting there. Excuse me. Something in, I guess I took a sip of this and I just don't feel that it went down right. So best way to solve it is to do it again. All right, so I will go over to my screen here and I'll be right back. Not going far. All right, here I am. So we got TanStack Start, full stack framework as I talked about. So I'm going to start learning how to use this in a way that I'm able to actually teach it. So I do like a few things about TanStack Start, especially over Next.js, and that's so they're both file-based. Excuse me, both file-based routing, which is nice, but Next.js nests it inside like it has to be nested. So TanStack does do nesting as well, but then you end up with Next with like slug / page.tsx. Then you have page.page.tsx, and then you have blog, and then on that you have a page.tsx. So you just get a bunch of pages that get a little bit unwieldy to manage as the application grows. So TanStack doesn't do it that way by default. You're able to name them whatever you want, essentially. So about TSX. I have to find the routing. Oh, this is all AI stuff. So that's not what I wanted to see. So this isn't stellar, honestly. I have no problem like integrating AI into your workflow and like how you build stuff, but how do I search the documentation? Like I want to be able to file naming conventions. Okay. And router though, like hide search results, show search results. So is there no actual way to search through documentation anymore? I can read the docs. All right, so don't love that. So more reason for me to actually get in here and start learning it. So there's routing here. Man, that really doesn't make me feel good, honestly. All right, anyway. So we have, this is what I'm talking about. So the index.tsx does what you think it is. It's the home page. The root wraps everything. There's routes that holds everything. And then you can have your about, your posts index page, and then anything within the posts itself. So I do like that structure. So actually root route. Okay, so yeah, I understand that right. So the root is used to render the HTML and body and stuff. So you can get your application shell and take care of any global logic. So why don't we spin up a project? And we're going to build from scratch. So we'll go to that aspect there, open up Ghosty, and then I will change directory. We'll go to the directory I want to go to. And then I need to make a directory. I'll call it TanStack. TanStack Learning. All right, so we have this now, almost maximize. Oh, actually we should do left here, do right here. And so we're going to bootstrap this project from scratch. That way we can add things as we go and truly understand what we're making here. So we will do this part because I didn't do the initialization. Okay. We will switch to PNPM most likely, but honestly, we're ready to open that now. So I will open up WebStorm and we'll take a look at this in just a second. So we're going to open that project in the directory in which I put it. TanStack Learning is what it's called. So I don't need to use the terminal much anymore, so we'll just do the left half there. All right, so the first thing we'll create, and again, I'm doing all of this by hand, so I could just have AI do it, but I'd rather be able to pick apart everything that we're adding. So we've got our config, tsconfig, JSON file. We'll have our compiler options, which will be React JSX, and we need to use actual full quotations, JSX, module, resolution will be bundler, why? Oh, because this needs to be wrapped in that, and then this needs to be JSX. There we go. Then we've got our module, yes, next, target, ES. So this is setting all the base standards for the project that TanStack accepts and expects. So this will be true for the lib check, and then we will turn on strict null checks and no comma at the end there. All right. So that's all we're going to enable because that is the most basic options for the TypeScript.json file. So JSX is telling us which JSX, specify what JSX code is generated, how it resolves. So it's looking it up in the bundler option. Then there's the module, specify what module code is generate. I assume that means generated. The target, again, is the standard, so library declarations, skip library check, type checking of all library files, that's important, and then when type checking, take into account null and undefined. And we, of course, want to do that. All right, so now we can install our dependencies. Here in TanStack Learning, we'll do pnpmi for this, and we'll do TanStack React Start, because we'll be using React, and then TanStack React Router. And now be careful when you are installing these, because there is a TanStack that is not scoped, that is not related to TanStack currently. So then we also need our React and React DOM. And then, and I don't need to extend that up. Then pnpmi, so now we are getting Vite, and you can use RS build, but I'm going to use Vite instead. And we'll get that from our Vite JavaScript package plugin for React. So there are other options. Looks like we can use the SWC, but I'll just use this because it seems to be what's recommended. And then we will add the types. So pnpmi, TypeScript, then our types from React, then our types from React DOM, and then our types from Node. So we need our Node types as well. Then we can go to our package.json file, which was initialized for us. And in our scripts, I can leave the test there. So we'll do dev, which will do Vite dev. So this is setting our development environment, and then how we build both use Vite. So we'll have Vite build as well. And our type, let's make sure that that's not already in here. Our type is going to be module. So we're not going to use common.js here. All right, so now let's add how this is going to be configured. So this is now the Vite configuration. So we have TypeScript set up and installed. We have Vite installed, but we don't have it configured quite yet. But we can do that pretty easily. We're going to import define config from Vite, then our TanStack Start. So this is TanStack Start from the Vite plugin from React Start. Something on my arm. All right. Then we can import Vite React from Vite.js plugin React. And we'll export default define config. And here we can define our port. So this is just like any kind of application configuration. So then we need our config path. So we'll set that to true. And then we can add plugins to our Vite config, which will have TanStack Start at the very least. And then after starts Vite plugin, we can add Vite React. And this needs to be in this order as well. So TanStack Start must come first before Vite React. Oh, right. So just trying to understand what's going on here. So this is just default, or not default, but like boilerplate Vite config. So we've got the config definition from Vite, which is then used to actually set up the configuration using the types here within it. Let's see what's actually in this. So it resolves to a user config, which is what we just initialized here. We can set our root, which defaults to the route. Base, public directory, cache directory, so that we may come back to that. Caching doesn't happen by default with TanStack, so there are ways to cache with it, but it is dynamic by nature because, remember, it's interactive. So there's a lot in here. I wonder if there's anything else interesting. So there are some dev tools that show up. App type, what can I put in there? Spa, MPA, custom. I wonder if any of those are set by default. So, oh, this would have been much easier to look at. Let's not get too deep into the weeds there. All right, so things look good. I do want to see, does this have anything else that it can take? Any arguments for start? There are some options. And then it can, for RSCs. So it does accept RSCs now, but those are still early days. Server build inline CSS. Okay, and then Vite React, any options here? Include, exclude. All right. So pretty standard boilerplate stuff. Not too worried about any of that. So then we have everything set up for the actual configuration itself. Now we can set up our router. So we need to get a source folder. So again, creating this from scratch. So I want to see how everything works together. And then we need a router.tsx file. We'll create that. And we will import create router from React Router. And then we don't have this yet, but route tree from route tree.gen. So that'll take, this will come from when we run the code for the first time. So we'll come back to that. Then we can export a function called get router, and we'll define our router and do that by creating the router with our route tree. Again, not declared yet, or it's declared, not defined yet. Then scroll restoration set to true, and then return our router. So scroll restoration. Not a very helpful JS doc, but it restores our scroll, I guess. Route tree will come in just a second. And the last thing we need to do, well, second to last thing before we get something running, is we need a new routes directory inside our source directory. So routes, and then we can do root.tsx. So this is the what would essentially be the layout for Next.js. And we've got to import our React node type from React. We need to import a few things from TanStack React Router. And that would be like our outlet, create root route, head content, and scripts. And then we can define our route and create with the head, which takes a arrow function. Okay, so this is where we can set our metadata. So this would be like in the layout of Next.js, you would have your generate metadata function or metadata static constant. That's what this is here. So we'll set the character set to be UTF-8. Then we'll name our viewport and assign it our content of width. So this is like, again, boilerplate HTML, but doing it all by hand. Initial scale is equal to 1. Then we've got our title, and this is just going to be TanStack Start Learning. Then our component is our root component, which does not seem to have been created. Oh, that's down below. Okay. So that's what we're defining now. So the function, this is going to be the actual root layout. So we've got our root component, which then fixes that type error up above. We can return our root document, which doesn't exist, but we will create it with our outlet. Then let's move me over here, because who really cares about the documentation, right? All right, so we can then do a new function. Oh, I should also zoom in. Okay. Root document, which takes children, which takes the React node, and is read only. So let's add that in there. So read only for this. Can open that up. And before we do anything else, let me go into my settings. Hard wrap at like 60 characters. Let's do 55. Wrap on typing, apply. But there are no... Sometimes prettier overwrites that, but I don't think I have prettier. Okay, well, there we go. All right, so that works. Now we need to return our HTML. So return HTML head with our head content. And then below the head content, we need our body, which will have our children, and then below that, our scripts. And that's all good. So we have our root now, and we still don't have our route tree yet because we haven't generated anything, because the last thing we need to do is generate a route. So I think what we can actually do though is, instead of that, we can run pnpm dev, which runs our Vite server, and we get TanStack added. We have our route tree gen ts, which means that our types here are fixed. Then I should be able to still go to localhost 3000, and that doesn't get handled for me. But something like posts might, nope, okay. So I don't have those defined yet, obviously. So let's go and create our index.tsx and just look at how this is expecting something to be done. So we will just return a, why did that happen? Oh, now it creates it, okay. All right, so now if I come over here and add new route, so when I add this, post.tsx, and refresh, it'll add so it adds the actual code for me. So I do like that about TanStack Start as well. For some reason though, this is just not wrapping, and I need it to wrap. Oh, settings. I don't want to do that actually. So let's go back to hard Or let's go back to our prettier settings, actually. So prettier. Because this should wrap down here. I just need to be able to see, but the code needs to be large enough for you guys to see as well. All right, so let's restart our server real quick. So that doesn't do anything. Then I can post, that doesn't do anything. So right now it's saying that there's an error, and that's likely because of something I did. So let's take a look. All these are constants. There's a function. Let's try it that way first. Routes index. So it's in there, routes index.tsx. I don't think this matters, but we're going to do, oh, export const. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Down. All right. It's not quite what I wanted, but that works a little bit better. There we go. All right. So we have our route component here. So this should be creating our file route of our home page. But I'm clearly missing something. So I've just been following the docs to set up how to build a TanStack Start project from scratch. I must have skipped something though. So let's go back to our root, which is right here. So we have our head with our head content. HTML, it's returned. All of this goes here, just to make sure this has the same shape that we're looking at. And it does, so that's right. Look at me using my big old brain to do stuff. All right. That seems unnecessary anyway, so I can just do that. That works. All right, we have our root component. We have all of our export const. Just needs to be route. That's probably the issue. Yay, all right. So we have our TanStack Start. So what we may want to do here is get Tailwind. And this is really easy to add as well. Framework guides, TanStack Start. Wow, they added it. Okay, so we will not go to problems, go to our terminal and do p and px. I'll just do npx. npx create, nope, I don't need to create a project. P and pm I tailwind css and then tailwind css for Vite, not whatever this is. Dang it, tailwind css. Vite. Okay, that's right. Now we need to add the plugin. Looks like before TanStack Start, so we can go back to our Vite config, tailwind CSS, make sure that imports automatically, add a comma, all good there. Then we need to create a style sheet, which I did not do to start. And then we can styles.css, import tailwind CSS. All right, so that is all good. And then I need to go to my root, other imports, import app CSS from styles, and then the URL query there. Interesting. All right, so then here we add links. Got it. All right, so this is essentially like adding, like with Next, you drop in Tailwind and it's essentially ready to go with very little configuration. Like I think after the style sheet, you're done. Here you have to actually add the links into your metadata like you would have to for, not metadata, but under the metadata, you need to add your links like you would for HTML. So with relationship to style sheet, href app CSS, then we got a root config there, or root component there. And now we can start using Tailwind. This is still wrong though. Maybe I just have it in the wrong spot. No, I found it. Let's try just running pnpm dev. See if that fixes anything. Says stylesheets.css. This is in my root, yes. Go back to my styles.css, tailwind CSS, yep, that's right. Then vite config, tailwind CSS, it's imported from tailwind vite. I was so close to saying it right the entire time. And then I installed those properly. I can see that there, tailwind CSS, then vite, yes, okay. So all that should be good. Don't know why that's getting an error there, but let's go to our index, for example, and just do class name, and we'll just change, let's just do BG pink. This is the way that I always find out if it's working or not. All right, it's there. And I can see that pre-flight stuff has been added as well. All right, so we have Tailwind involved now. I want to see why we have this type error though. Cannot find module or its corresponding type declarations. So do I need to add Tailwind types as well? More action. Okay, that's clearly not going to work. Oops. Can I go to my terminal, please? Thank you. So then do I just need to do npm, I'm using pnpm, I types tailwind CSS. I don't know if that's actually something. It's something, but it's not right. So pnpm remove. All right, so this is where handy dandy AI might come in handy. And again, like I said, I'm not necessarily against using AI, but I am trying to understand. So I want to get to a point where I can work, and then if I can't figure it out, then ask Claude to help me out here. All right. Okay, so why is this a type error? So I'm sure it's just I need to import types somehow, but I don't want to look that up because I'm focused really on the TanStack Start side of things here. So I will let that figure it out. It'll connect in with my IDE. And so now we can start building something like a home page. What do we want to build? Because I don't really want it to be like a blog. What if I did, we could do just weather. Weather's an easy one. I do need company. Thank you. All right, so let's just do, do a container div. Then we'll do a div inside that div. Then we'll do, I think the H1 can be separate. H1. Let's just do H1 here. No, it doesn't need to be in a div. All right, so weather app. Cool. So weather API, I know I'm gonna need that. Open weather, sure. Then I might need Lucid React. So let's go ahead and add that because I know I'm going to need it. All right. declare, all right, confirm the cause. There's no Vite client type reference anywhere in the project. No file exists in your TS config. JSON doesn't include types Vite client, so no. All right, so create. All right, so let's see if that works. So, and then we'll come back to the weather stuff. All right, so we need to go to our source. So create a new file, vite environment.ts, and we'll blindly follow Claude's advice here and see if it actually works. That's which include, and the error goes away, and it does. Thanks, Claude. So I probably wouldn't have figured that out, and that's why we have AI to help us. All right. I don't need you to create that. So all of this is other mumbo jumbo. All right. So one thing that I want to do to our HTML is let's add a class name. And I want this to just be like a default padding around. No, I don't want to do default padding around everything. We shouldn't do that. But what we could do is add a container around the children. Well, yeah, because we would do like a nav here, and this would be, this is a nav, and then for the children, we could add a main. And then in the main, we can add class name, just do a padding of like 4 around. 1 rem is always the way to go. So this is nav, and so that way I can set up however I want here to do the navigation without having the padding from all this other stuff. So then we also have our footer that can go here as well. This is a footer. So the footer shows up there, all good. So we don't need to worry about posts right now, but we have our weather app. So what we're going to need to do is also install Lucid React. Let's get started. There we go. So we're adding Lucid React, so we have some icons, and I know that they actually have weather-based icons to begin with because I saw them. There they are, and these look way better than whatever we're going to get from Weather API, unless they use Lucid React now. I don't know. And welcome, maybe 50/50. It's also nice to meet you. I am not from India, and I see you're melting. So that is what I hear most of people who visit or have lived in India. No, you are not disturbing me. I just get focused and forget about the chat sometimes. All right. I mean, I'm here to chat anyway, so please do. Chat and learn. I do want to still learn something about what we're coding. So, and again, I'm coding by hand here, not because I'm against AI and coding, but because I want to actually learn and understand what I'm building. And I want to understand this enough to actually be able to teach it, because I like to do courses. I've done tutorials in the past. My channel is not really tutorials much anymore, but I do believe that high quality education is something that is, or needs to be available to everyone. So I've got courses, maybe 50/50. Here is in India. There are price adjustments based on country. So if you visit my site at nlvcodes.com, you can see I have one course up right now, which is Payload Essentials, which just extends my tutorials into a fully fleshed out course. But that's not what we're doing here. I am just learning TanStack Start to get better at it, because I have built a few projects with it, but I have not quite understood it. So I want to make sure that I get to a base level understanding as I figure this out. So we're going to get our API key and look at the API docs. Okay. So, all right, there's the documentation. Why is it in light mode? Everybody hates light mode. So I'm going to not do anything about that, I guess. So I can decline. I guess I need to log in. I don't think I have a password, so we're going to create an account. And I'm going to do this over here real quick. And that way only I'm blinded and you don't have to be. So let's set this up real quick. And this, I don't care, honestly. Yeah, I'm just creating an account. So this is loads of fun over here. You guys are missing out on the real action. Oh, I already have an account. Let's see if it's still active. So let's sign in real quick. Again, still don't want to show this, but I might be able to actually log in. Signed in successfully. All right, so doesn't look like there's any private information here. I'm deciding if I'm developing an app or a website. So it's going to be a web app regardless. That could turn into an app. But for now, I'm just messing around trying to get familiar with TanStack Start. And thank you. Yes, this is actually my default state. So my hair really took off and I just let it take off. But this is how I normally actually look. So I got it cut the beginning of May, and I got to actually donate the hair. So that was really fun. But I don't know if I ever want to do it again. All right, so what have we got? So I'm logged in. Let's see if the session stays up over here. Oh, well, first of all, okay, so the session stays. That's good. Where? API keys. Oh, cool. Just pulls up my API key there. So let me roll that. Yes, deactivate that key. Not that this is anything super specific. So TanStack Start, generate. And then I will create an environment. I should also create a get ignore real quick. So create a file, get ignore. Just any environment variable. I think that gets everything though. Then create a new file.env. Then let's get init and do get. All right, perfect. So now I'll do weather API key. I don't think this is anything super private, but still, I don't want to risk it. Can I not just copy it? I guess I... Oh, that is copying all of it. All right. So let me open that up. Save. Bring this back over. Get rid of the get ignore. And so we've got our home page here. We can close that. All right. So we're back all on the same page now. We're already logged in. Bring me to the documentation. Pricing. Is there no free anymore? All right, well, let's see. I don't need all that. Weather APIs. We're gonna have to see if I can actually do this anymore. All right, so getting data. This is where I kind of fall apart a little bit with TanStack Start because anybody can actually build this, but I know a lot of what we're doing is going to be here. And really to protect the environment variable, it's going to need to be in a server component rather than, or not server component, but just like a server function in general, But it just seems like overkill. But we're going to do the API key based on, or the fetching based on the API key that I know I have. So what we're going to do is let's just get, so we've got geocoding API. Let's look here at first. Let's make this easier on everybody's eyes, so I don't keep flashbanging people here. So let's do class name. Let's do BG Slate 900 text Slate. I'll do like 100. 200. That's too much. 80. There we go. It's a little bit. It's harder to read actually. Let's just stick with Slate 200. There we go. So now everybody's eyes shouldn't be blasted unless I go back over to the weather API. All right, so we're gonna need the geocoding API as well. And we're gonna have to see if this lets me actually do this, because there's a lot of information about things being there's like prices and stuff. So we're going to look over here because I want to know is my voice too low? I can turn it up a little bit more, but it's pretty hot on. Check, check, check. I guess I'll turn it up a little bit. Hello. See, that just seems like too loud to me, but if you say so, here we go. So that should be about right. We'll see. I have been hearing that a lot, so thank you. I may just have to switch this mic out. We'll see. Because right now, like when I put my headphones back on, all I hear is a bunch of like room noise. I can hear my dogs barking. Like it feels too loud to me. And yeah. So hopefully this is better, but let me know. I do have the microphone right there. All right. So let's look at our, I don't need to do server functions necessarily because I'm doing an external call, not something within the database. So we have environment variables that I need to look at. Server-side context, server function API routes, not really what I'm looking for. All right, well, let's zoom back in here and we'll try it out. I'm not too worried about this API key leaking. Database connection, never exposed to the client. Then we have here the client configuration. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So up at the top here in our index, we will export a function. Now this is a route though. Vite exposes variables with the Vite prefix. Yes, that's what most things do. So how? I don't need to do authentication. External API integration. I think this is closer to what I want. Server-side API calls. Okay. So we have our create file route. Feature flags and configuration. So let's see if this new AI documentation chat thing works. All right, how do I fetch external data and render? Oh, okay, so there's search results here. And render data from that API securely. So we'll see what TanStack Chat has to say. But I did just see all of the documentation show up at the bottom there, so that probably would be helpful as well. All right, store secrets in an environment variable, create a server function to make the exclusively on. Okay, so I do want to use the server function even though I'm not going to my database. So what we need to do is create a server function. But where do I do it? That is the question. Create. So common patterns here. Database connection. All right. Externally. Okay, so this is what it's talking about. So what we need to do is import create server function from React Start. Okay, so then we've got a constant fetch. We'll just say whether data create server function. So I don't need to do all that. Then I can do validator z. So we have, this needs to be using Zod. We'll see if I actually have that installed. I really need this to wrap properly, but it's not working like I want it to. So we have our validator. Then I don't know what this is going to look like quite yet. That's a problem. So I can see that. I'm switching over to light mode, so brace yourselves. So our response all right, so the first thing we need to do, I don't know. Let's wait for the validator. Let's see if we can skip that. But we have our handler after that. So the handler can take an async function. And I don't need data, so we're actually, like, all of this is just going to be from the server. So let's first get location data. What? All right, so we're going to await. I should be able to fetch, I assume. Yes, so we're awaiting fetch, and then I want to use, we'll say constant location. It's going to be, we'll just say New York for now. So how does it need the data? So it needs city name, so we can do city name will be New York. Then we'll do state code NY. Country will be US. Then we need our API key, which will be process, weather API key. And I don't really care if this key leaks, but it shows up anyway. All right, so that's not supposed to happen. I will roll that. I should roll that now, actually. I will roll that now. Please hold. TanStack Start. Generate. Right, I need to open up the environment variable. This is the old one. I just pasted in the new one, got rid of that. Be careful not to hover over things. Should be easy. All right, so we have our API key. Now we need to put in our API call. So that's this here. We'll drop in our API key. Yep, your English is great. This needs to be there. Await fetch. Wait fetch. Here, let's do it this way. Then we need our URL, which is going to be, oh, I understand what I was missing now. So API key, I don't really care about a limit, but I just need one. So I'll set that. Location, country. Then do the same thing here. We do location, state code, and then lastly, location, city name. So then we can fetch our URL. Then don't think I need headers because the API key is just added to the end there. And then I should be able to return our location data JSON. And then what do I do? All right, so now from here, I need to pass this over into fetch weather data. That's not going to be right, but oh, right. So then loader. All right, so up here we have our handler. Is that what we actually need to use? That's not an actual type there. All right, we have our API key. We have our fetch function here, which has our server function. We're awaiting our location data. If we should handle the error. So if our response, if our location data is not okay, we can throw a new error, failed to fetch location data. Get the status text there as well. Nothing is wrapping still, and I can see that the wrap is there. Ugh. It's driving me crazy. All right, good enough, I guess. All right, so then we pass that down through our loader and our route. So we have our loader, which will be not that, an async function, which has a promise. I'm going to do of any right now because I need to figure out what this is going to look like. So then we'll try our constant of location data. And so this is just getting the location. So I need to change this to be fetch location data. So what we can do is just log the location data at that point. If not, we'll just catch and swallow the error. I don't really care. Don't care. And save. All right, so all of that hopefully does something. So I will just refresh this and open the terminal. I don't see anything come through yet. So let's go here. And that's in our route. Then inside our page itself, which is this route component, we just need to log our route use loader data. Okay. I just don't know what kind of information is coming from here. What do I need to do? Return. All right. So route, then we have, let's try building it this way. So we have our home page, then we have our route use loader data. Then I would just want to return I don't know what this is going to look like, but we'll do that. Then can I get rid of this? All right, so that's not working like I want it to. So this is where I just don't know how to do things. So let's get rid of that and pull up Claude again. So I want to learn how to use, let's actually do it this way. External data from TanStack Start, but I am stuck. Can you please help? Oh, a loop. Yes, okay. Yeah, so I can see that I need to have the handler done here. Okay, it's going to go through context 7 for me. I don't really care about the types right now because I don't know what the shape of the data is. I'm sure I can see the response and figure it out, but that is not what I really care about yet. Oh, okay. So the loader, so this is why you shouldn't swallow your errors. The error could have probably told me what I needed to do. All right, so the loader should just return here. All right, so loader async arrow function. That's probably too far. Nope, that's right. And then we'll return await fetch location data. Do that. Unauthorized. Yep. Scroll down. Failed to fetch location data from unauthorized. So that tells me that maybe my API is not actually going to do this right. So let's add from unauthorized. Okay. So yes, I can't use this. So free weather API. I don't want to try the API there. I want to actually use the API. Oops. All right, so let's read the docs. This may actually get me what I need. All right, it just wants 7 days. That's fine. Oh, cool, you can use a bounding box. All right, so here, how do I get... Okay, so let's do New York. New York. Then how do I get... Man, this drives me crazy when documentation just isn't clear. But that's okay. So let's go to API docs. That's where I'm at. Great. There's pricing still. All right, let's read the docs. So I want to pull back up New York, New York. Non-commercial, yes. I don't need 10,000 daily API calls. That's fine. Oh, here we go. So TypeScript. I don't want to use an SDK. I just want to fetch. All right. That took way too long. So how can we fetch, though, the actual location? So let's go back to open Mateo, whatever. I don't want to do all that. Geocoding. All right, so non-commercial, yes. So we're going to get our location data. I promise we're going to get some location data. So we've got New York. I'm only going to still take one. Country code, United. So I want to see how this is fully formed. So we need to replace this with something we can actually use. So name is going to be Sia. So we have New York, but this is going to be a location. City name, I think it's encode. Encode URI. Do component, see if that works. Count 1 is right. Language, country code would be encode URI component location, country. So state code isn't here, which is interesting. Is there a way to add that? There doesn't seem to be. But now I should be able to save that, refresh here, and I can see my results here. So now I have data. Great. And I have data in a way that I can actually use it. I'd be able to like replace this with the slug, for example. Okay, I wonder, can this take like New York? New York. So this search doesn't seem to be very flexible, which is okay. Just means that we'll need to be careful how we actually do this. All right. So we have our New York. We don't need the state. I don't like that though. All right, so I have Tailwind, geocoding. I'd like it to be a bit more like strict where it can go. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. All right, so now we have our latitude and longitude. So that returns all that information, but what we actually need is from this, let's hope that my array doesn't go away. So we need from our JSON here, so this actually should just be, let's do results. We can then do from our results, we need our, not object, we need our results. All right, so this should actually just be a response. So then we have our results from our response. And this is no longer any. We'll come back to it. We'll do types later. So we should be able to return an object. Let's not do all that. So from our location data, so constant, we have our response, and on that response, oh shoot. Then let's process this response. Oh, that's the same thing as this. All right, so this data is coming through as an object. That's what we want. So then if we return the response, we just get the object. It's not quite what we want. So next we need to store, let's do our latitude, which would be response.results 0.latitude. Oh, so this needs to be, oh wait. All right, so in that case, we want to do, I think this is going to work. I don't actually know. So latitude, response, results, longitude, which would be long. And I think that's all I need from here, or for here, where I can then get our weather by awaiting the fetch this here. And then we need our so we just need to add our parameters. So I don't want to install anything. We just need to add parameters, which is going to be latitude. I believe this is going to be longitude. And then hourly, we'll do temperature. Then we should be able to return our weather JSON. All right. So all of that being done, let's see what we get. Latitude, longitude. So we get an object, we get our elevation, we get return await fetch location data. Oh, so let's do log lat long log. So this is response. All right, so of course that's not going to be logged because it's not part of the return statement. Well, wait. Let's make sure. So over here in the terminal, there it is. Okay. So this is server. That makes sense. All right, so we have our response. From our response, we need the results for the first array. We have our latitude, so we should have lat long. That looks good. So then we want to log our weather, which would be our weather JSON. Body has all, okay, I'll figure that out in a second. But here, all right, so there's our weather. So that's wrong. Latitude, that's right. Oh, that's different. All right, longitude. Then, oh, malformed. There we go. All right, so now we should have everything we need. So we have our weather for New York, United States. Weather. Oh, I wonder if I can get this in Fahrenheit too, because your boy American and doesn't understand Fahrenheit or Celsius. Maybe one day I'll learn. And so actually what I want is not temperature anyway. I want weather code. So let's do that. So let's steal theirs here. Let's get, so let's do constant weather data, hourly. Get rid of that. All right, so const hourly. Wait, weather JSON. Then we should be able to return our weather data. But first we'll log it. Weather data hourly, and I know these are proper. Time end is not a function. Oh. Missing something here. What do we have? We'll just grab all this as well. Weather. Oh, okay. So all of these are from the SDK. I don't want to do all that. So let's just get rid of this. So I can't steal that. All right, so that's fine. But we have our weather data. And 68 more items. Weather time. So what I want though is chart URL reload. So I want the weather code hourly. So we change the API here to weather code instead. And here now we can do so I'm going to copy this. I have this complex data structure. Help me come up with a function to simplify. And so while it's pulling that, I want to get the codes for the weather here. So we have weather code, see table below for details. Weather code, weather code. Here we go. So we have weather codes. grouped by day. Let's just do an hourly, a flat list. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. So clear sky, then we're going to do, okay, I don't have to do types anyway. All right, so we've got our and do the function here to hourly list time weather code. Okay. Then we can return our time map for our t with our index, so t for time. I already messed something up. Function to hourly list, time, weather code. I don't want to do types right now. Close that. All right, so then we do time t, weather code for our index. To hourly list, time weather code. Return time map. We'll map through each time to return the time in the index. Time t, weather code, we're missing. All of this comes together, right? All right, so right now all those are any's, and then we can do hourly to hourly list weather data. Not making it easy. All right, so let's go ahead and do the types. I'm just going to copy them though. No, I'm not. I'm going to type them out. All right, so for our type, we have our hourly weather raw. Time is a string. Weather code is a number. Type hourly weather. Time again is a string. Weather code, a number. Time, weather code. This will be hourly weather raw, and it resolves to an array of hourly weather. That clears all of that. That can't be undefined anymore. Weather doesn't even look like a real word anymore. Weather code. There we go. Check this out. I guess it can be undefined somehow. Returns undefined. Right. So we pass hourly in because I'm a dummy. All right, so hourly. That then should give me what I need. All right, so now we can take that. We already have it coming through here, and we have our weather data. We can get our route, use loader data, and we're going to get our time and weather code from there. Don't need that at the end. Well, this is an array, so we're actually not getting that. We're just going to get our weather array. So underneath this, then, we can do a weather array map for our weather. I don't really want to use this as the key, so what we'll do is for each weather day, we're going to, let's do this in a semantic manner. So we'll do an unordered list, and then here we'll do our list items with the key of weather. We should do time because that is unique to each one. And then we can do our weather code. Do that. All right, weather array is undefined apparently. All right, so here we can log our weather array. So this again is a TypeScript issue. So our weather array oh, I think I'm getting the wrong thing. So to hourly list, weather hourly. All right, so I need to go back a little bit because that's what, all right, so to hourly list, weather data hourly. Is that right? Yes. All right. So we got our weather app. We have a bunch of codes that mean nothing to us yet. But we can, let's do a quick class name, do flex wrap. So that's a bunch of stuff. Each li, we'll do padding of 1. I guess we can do padding of 4. So we need weather code, and then we also need weather time. And just as a separator for now. But really this, we'll come back to it because we're going to need to do new date to locale date string in US. Some options: year numeric, month long, day numeric, time zone, American New York. Because that's actually what comes through. We actually may be able to add the data from there. More than that, we need hour, minute. We don't need second though. Okay, so here then we can do, I'm over optimizing a little bit. Span, don't need that. This is another span. Both of the, oh, so here again, flex, then align middle, justify, center. Clear this down here. Then this here. Oh, right. And then I need this to be flex row. Nope, flex call. There we go. Why not center though? It's fine. Gap 4. And that's actually probably better than, nope, still need the padding. All right. Gap 4. Get rid of this. I'm gonna keep it. All right, we'll do a border 2, border white, probably border, just border. There we go. Margin top 4, border, rounded to XL. Okay, margin top should probably be like 8. And that should actually be here. Do gap of 6, give it a little bit more room. Okay, or don't. Gap of 4, that's fine. All right, so we have a bunch of stuff here. We'll even do just a BG, let's say slate, just something to give it a little bit of separation from the background. Right, BG, let's just do BG white and see what happens. All right, that worked just fine. Oh, maybe that was the problem. Slate 900. There we go. That's actually what I wanted. Perfect. Okay. Then I actually want this to be on top. Let's do center. Text center. There we go. So now we need to, for each, this needs to be a function, or an expression rather. Do this, I believe. This. Replace that. Get rid of you. And, oh wait, I can leave that and then do return. Because what I need to do is our weather code situation. So this will be the last thing I do, I think. So we need, for each of these codes, which doesn't look like these are going to be drastically different in any case. I guess some of them will be. So we have some 51s in there. I would like, let's just, can we do grid? Does that maybe work better? Grid calls 4. Yeah, a little bit better. Okay, so that works for me for now. Could even do 3. Yeah, that way it doesn't wrap and I'm able to see things a little bit better. And it's still divisible by 3, so that works perfectly. All right, so now we need to map through our different icons. And so we can do that. I don't know if this is the best way to do it. Weather code case. So if I'm looking at this, I've got So case would be 0. That's a clear sky. We can return lucid react. We'll see if this works. So what would clear look like? Well, so there's two ways we could do this. We could do clear daytime and clear nighttime. So we'll just start with clear daytime for now. So we can just do like sun medium. And that would just be that. And then, dang it, man. So I don't think that's going to work. So in that case, we can do our constant called, we could do icon map and set that equal to be like 0 would be sun medium. And then for our weather code, we could do icon map weather code. And we'll see what this does. Probably break something. Nope, works perfect. All right, so still, and by works perfect, like I still need to fix stuff up, but we can do class name. So none of that matters actually. So align middle. Text center is what I mean. Can we just do flex justify center? There we go. I don't think that matters, so I'll put this aside. So now we can look at the rest of these because we have 1, 2, and 3 are going to be the same. So partly cloudy. So cloud sun maybe. And then this is true for 2 and 3. I can close some of these things now. So I don't need geocoding anymore. I don't need any of this anymore because I've got a pretty good idea. And what these actually should do, let's see if I can do it this way. Again, I am messing with stuff, so we're going to see if this works. So we have our icon, and then we have our name, which would be clear. So then we can do weather code dot name. And then this could be icon. So do the same thing here where we have icon and then name is partly cloudy, and then just copy and paste this twice for 2 and 3, but these are also different. This is actually mainly clear, partly cloudy, and then this is overcast. And there actually may be an overcast icon. Doesn't look like it, so let's pull up the weather again. And I'll just leave those as is, but that currently does not work. But does icon work? No. All right. So too good to be true. I could do though. So This is just the icon map. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. That. That. And then we'll want to do a name map as well. So let's do constant name map. And this will be clear. Mainly clear. Partly cloudy. And then overcast. So then we'll have our name map. Oh, I don't need this. Let's do a div actually. Div for both of these. Then we can do span. Span. And then we'll do another class name. This will be flex justify center. Or not even, because we have justify center there. We can just do gap of like what, 4? It's probably too much. 2. And actually we can do flex column. Now you want to work. Okay. Whatever. All right. All right, I'll fix all that later. But for now, that should be fine. All right, so we've got clear, we've got overcast. No, I don't want to fix it right now. Let's zoom out a little bit and then fix our hard wrap. Like 75 instead. There we go. All right. So let's fix up the map a little bit more, do a few more. So we'll have 45 will be fog. I've never heard 48, which is depositing rime fog. Then we'll have 51, which is light drizzle. 53 is going to be moderate drizzle. 55 is going to be dense drizzle. Then we'll have 56 battery. Wow. Light freezing drizzle. 57 dense. 61 slight, we'll do light rain. So light rain. 63 going to be moderate rain. 65 dense rain. 66, so many. We have light freezing rain. 67 is dense. We'll do heavy freezing rain because dense doesn't really mean much to anybody, so we'll do heavy there as well. Heavy, though heavy drizzle seems like an oxymoron. All right. Ugh. Do 71, 73, 75. These are all going to be snow of varying qualities. This will be light, moderate, heavy. And we've got 77 snow grains. Don't really know what to put for that one. Then we have 80, 81, and 82. And these are going to be rain showers of varying intensity. So we'll have light, moderate, heavy. All right, we've got 4 more. 85. 86. 95. 96. 99. All right. Thunderstorms. Thunderstorms with hail. Hair. All right, 85 is light snow showers, heavy snow showers, and lastly, with light hail, heavy hail. And 95 is thunderstorms. All right. So that's everything. We should have moderate. Oh, I need to map all this stuff first. Good Lord. All right. So let's take all of this up to overcast. Then here we have fog. Cloud fog. Then depositing fog. How do I want to demonstrate that? We'll do this one. Waves horizontal. Why not? Waves horizontal. Then we've got drizzle. There's one right there for it. And I'm sure there's ways that I could combine these three, but what's it matter? Drizzle from Lucid React. Freezing rain. All right, so there's no freezing rain, it doesn't look like. But that's okay. So we'll just use the snow one because that looks pretty close. Oops. And so I'm going to use the same snow everywhere here. Because there's no difference in intensity snows. So we can just do cloud, snow. Where did all of these go? All right, then we need our rain. I don't think there's differing intensities here. I guess there is, so we can do cloud rain. And then heavy rain, cloud rain wind. Cloud, rain, wind. Then we have our thunderstorms. Let's do weather. Cloud, lightning. And then is there one that's more intense than that? I mean, there's tornado, but that's not quite what I'm looking for. Zap. All right, we'll just use cloud lightning for all of this. So grab all of these. Ooh, I'll fix that down there. Light. All right, from Lucid React. Then fix our hail down here. And then if I load this up now, we should see everything. And so if we just do that and this, everything gets aligned that way. And I'm okay with that for now. We can get for this, yeah. All right, so we have overcast, moderate drizzle, overcast, light drizzle, light drizzle, light drizzle. And so this gives us everything we need to see with weather and such. We got fog even. So we were seeing quite a few icons that I was not expecting. So we won't see snow or anything, but that's okay. All right, so obviously there's a lot of stuff to design, but what we did is we learned how to configure Vite and set up a TanStack Start project. So all of that is good. There are some type things that we need to fix. There is some design stuff we need to fix. There's a bunch of stuff that we need to do. I also need to learn how to do this with a database, persisting, like if we wanted to have favorites of locations, I would want to be able to do that as well. So we don't have to like keep coming back and forth between like choosing a bunch of different locations. So plenty to do with this, but pretty easy to get set up and ready to go. And we did that from scratch. So I'm looking forward to diving a little bit more deeply into what TanStack Start can do. But for now, I think that's a good place to stop. As I mentioned earlier, you can check out my Payload Essentials course at nlvcodes.com. It is at a reduced price for a limited time, so be sure to check that out. And there is purchasing power parity included. So if you're from a country that's not the United States and should get a discount but are not getting a discount, please let me know and I'll make that adjustment. You can subscribe to my newsletter. It's free. It's called Next in Dev. That link is in the description as well. And I talk about web dev news, including TanStack Start, Next.js, Payload CMS, and a bunch of other modern technologies. So be sure to check that out as well. And then finally, you can just follow me on X, LinkedIn, wherever you want to find me. And like and subscribe, like this video and subscribe to my channel to get more content like it. But for now, I'm done. This was fun. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.